Good morning to my lecturer, Madam JC. My name is Nur Shahna binti Ibrahim, matrix number 01 19 F2044, and my group members Muhammad Iqbal bin Rosmadi and Hassan Al-Basri bin Bukhari. So in this video, we will present about our problem-based task assessment for security audit DFS 50113.
My name is Muhammad Iqbal bin Rosmadi and my matric number is 01DDT19F10131. So in this video, I will tell you about security audit finding 1 website. So the first one, I'm gonna tell you about the situation. So the situation is after a password reset is performed by the user, not all existing sessions are logged out automatically. Logging in with the new password does not invalidate the older session either. If a user believes her password has been stolen, she will change her password in the hope that this action will revoke the attacker's undue access to the account. If sessions are not invalidated, an attacker could carry on having access to the victim's account for the maximum duration that the session allows. While the overall security risk is limited, we believe that invalidating previous sessions could improve the overall security posture of Teleport. Since the Teleport Enterprise supports multiple authentication connectors such as YDC, SAML, and GitHub login, the platform will also need to implement this mechanism for those connectors. So next, I will tell you about the phases of security assessment. They have three on it. The first one, pre-assessment, assessment, and post-assessment. Okay, the first one, not all existing sessions are logged out automatically, and log in with the new password does not invalidate the older session either. So attacker could carry on having access to the victim's account for the maximum duration that the session allows. Okay, next, assessment. Use asynetics and security site check tools to check the web. Okay, next, post-assessment. The first one, disconnect the user account when try to attempt after failed few times. The second one, set a timeout value like in 3 minutes. The third one, locking out a target account. Next, use multi-factor authentication. Next, simultaneous session login. Next, requiring a computational task on the user part, and the last one, detect login location. So that's post-assessment for the website. Okay, next I will tell you about tools. About tools for findings reported and how each tool have been used. Okay, the first one we use Acunetics. Okay, Acunetics is an automated web application security testing tool that audits your web application by checking for vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other exploitable vulnerabilities. Okay, so how Acutics works. The first one, Acutic deep scan, analyze the entire website by following all the links on the site, including links which are dynamically constructed using JavaScript, and link found in robots.txt and sitemap XML. Okay, the result is a map of the site which Acutics will use to launch, target, check again each part of the site. Okay, the second one is if Acunitic Acu sensor technology is enabled, the sensor will retrieve a listing of all the files present in the web application directory and add the files not found by the crawler to the crawler output. Subfiles usually are not discovered by all the crawler as they are not accessible for the web server or not linked through the website. Acunetics Acu sensor also analyze file which are not accessible from the internet, web, or config. Next one, the third one. After the crawling process, the scanner automatically launches a series of vulnerabilities check on each page found, in essence emulating a hacker. Audit also analyzes each page for place where it can input data and subsequently attempt all the different input combinations. These are the automate scan stage. If the Aku sensor technology is enabled, a series of additional vulnerability check are the launch against the website. And the next, the vulnerability identified are shown in the scan result. Each vulnerability alert contains information about the vulnerability, such as posts that data used, affected item, HTTP response of the server, and more. Next, if Aku sensor technology is used, details such as source code, line number, stack trace, or affected SQL query which lead to the vulnerability are listed. Okay, recommendation on how to fix the vulnerability are also shown. And the last one, various reports can be generated on the complete scans, including executive summary report, developer report, and various compliance reports such as a PCI DSS or ISO 27001. Okay, I think just that. Thank you.
Okay, another tools that we can use in finding tool is Sucuri Site Check. So Sucuri Site Check is free scanning tool that will check website source code malware, virus, malicious code, and infected file locations. Check if your website has been blacklisted by website security authorities like Pistang, Google, and others. So it can find out if all website components are up to date, example, CMS version, plugins, or extensions. It will also see if there are any configuration or other security issues present. So based on its scan, Sucuri reveals the types of threats each loophole is vulnerable to and give hardening recommendations. It's a pretty slide tool if you want to ensure that you are not missing out on any security best practice. So how Sucuri Site Check works? Sucuri will visit the main page and extract the list of links, JavaScript files, and iframes. Sucuri revisit the main page acting as a search engine bot. From the links Sucuri extract, Sucuri select 8 to 10 of them and visit them using different refresh and user agents. Sucuri extract and scan all JavaScript files and iframe presents. Sucuri run all those pages or links against Sucuri large malware database and perform multiple anomaly checks to compare results between different users, agents, or refresh to see if there is anything hidden. Sucuri check all the included resources against multiple blacklists to see if anything has been flagged by blacklisting agencies like Google, McAfee, Norton, and others. Okay, next, we continue with organized recommendation for finding one. Okay, the problem is in this finding is when user offline their account, but the account still active without logout automatically. So the recommendation of these problems are disconnect the user account when tried 2 attempts after fail few times. Second is set a time value like in 3 minutes. So for security, accounts that have had many unsuccessful password attempts will have their account automatically logged out for security. Okay, third is locking out a target account. So target may also require a password change due to a site or system refresh, so you can continue to keep accounts secure. Okay, fourth is use multi-factor authentication. So this is used to ensure that the digital users are who they say They are by requiring that they provide at least 2 pieces of evidence to prove their identity. Each piece of evidence must come from a different category. Something they know, something they have, or something they are. Okay, fifth is simultaneous session login. So it's the web application design decision to determine if multiple simultaneous login from the same users are allowed from the same or different client IP address. If the web application does not want to allow simultaneous session logins, it must take effective action after each new authentication event, implicitly terminating the previously available session or asking the user through the old, new, or both session about the session that must remain active. 6 is requiring a computational task on the user's part. And last one is detect last login location. So this is the resources used links for finding one web.
Okay, next I will tell you about security audit finding 2 network. So the situation is teleport CLI client TSH provide login and logout mechanism to ensure that the user is correctly authenticated into the teleport out server. While testing, we discovered that the application flow for the user logout is not securely implemented. So next, I will tell you about phase of security assessment for the network. First one, pre-assessment. Application flow for the user logout is not securely implemented. Okay, next, assessment. Using Nessus and Wireshark for finding network. Okay, and the last one, post-assessment. They have 5 on it. The first one, ensure the system is always up to date with current development. The second one, avoid giving complete information to system. The third one, require re-authentication for sensitive feature. Next, transmit password only over TLS. And the last one, single login or sign in. Okay, just that from me.
My name is Hassan Al-Basri bin Bukhari, and my number matric is 01DDT19F1246. So I would like to share with you about the security audit findings too about network. So teleports CLI client TSH provide login and logout mechanism to ensure that the user is correctly authenticated into the teleport out server. While testing, we discover that the application flow for the user logout is not securely implemented. So the 1.0 is process of security assessment, which is pre-assessment, assessment, and post-assessment. So tools used for finding a report have a tool, which is Nessus, Vulnerability Scanner, and Wireshark. So I would like to share with you about Nessus Vulnerability Scanner. So Nessus is a remote security scanning tool which scans a computer and raises an alert if it discovers and vulnerabilities that malicious hackers could use to gain access to any computer you have connect to network. It does this by running over 1,200 checks on a given computer, testing to see if any of these attacks could be used to break into the computer or otherwise harm it. So how Nessus work? To run scan, you must have the Nessus server running on some machine. Then start up a Nessus client. The two most important types are Nessus host, which allows you to enter the IP address of the Nessus server you will connect to, as well as the username and password needed to connect to this server. The other critical type is label target selection. This is where you specify which host you would like to scan. Each tab and field is covered in deep on this web page. So once you are ready to scan, hit the start the scan button. So analyze the report. After scan, Nessus client typically offer two means to analyze the result. The client itself will often list each vulnerability found, gauging its level of severity and suggesting to the user how this problem could be fixed. So dia punya, nak kata kita dah scan tu, nanti dia akan keluar lah apa benda yang ada dekat dalam tu lah kan. So yang kedua iaitu Wireshark. So Wireshark is a packet sniffer and analysis tool. It captures network traffic on the local network and stores that data for offline analysis. Wireshark capture network traffic from internet, Bluetooth wireless, talking ring, frame relay connecting and more. So how Wireshark works? Wireshark works collects network traffic from the wire through the computer network interface, running in promiscuous mode if needed to inspect and display information related to protocols, IP address, port, header, and packet length. The following diagram is an illustration of how all the elements work together to display packet level information to the user. So this is the diagram how Wireshark work, and then Wireshark comes with the wing cap or lip cap driver, which enable an IC to the run in promiscuous mode. The only time you don't have to sniff in promiscuous mode is when the packets are directly intentionally distinct granted to.
Okay, we continue with organized recommendation for finding to network. Okay, first is ensure the system is always up to date with current developments. Second is avoid giving complete information to system. Third is require re-authentication for sensitive features. So in order to mitigate CSRF and session hijack, it's important to require the current credentials for an account before updating sensitive accounts. Information such as the user password, user's email, or before sensitive transaction, such as shipping a purchase to a new address. Without this countermeasure, an attacker may be able to execute sensitive transaction through the CSRF or SSS attack without needing to know the user's current credentials. Additionally, an attacker may get temporary physical access to user's browser or steal their session ID to take over the user session. Okay, fourth is transmit password only over TLS or other strong transport. So the login page and all subsequent authenticate page must be exclusively accessed over TLS or other strong transport. The initial login page referred to as the login landing page must be served over TLS or other strong transport. Failure to utilize TLS or other strong transport for the login landing page allows an attacker to modify the login from action. causing the user credentials to be pushed to an arbitrary location. Failure to utilize TLS or other strong transport for authenticate page after login enables an attackers to view the unencrypted session ID and compromise the user's authenticate session. And the last organized recommendation is single login or sign-in, also known as single sign-off (SSO). So, logout function to web application connected to the single sign-out system. The single sign-out system will cause the termination of all global sessions. Therefore, user authentication is required to gain access to the application after logging into the single sign-out system and being connected to the application. So that's all for organized recommendation, and this one is resources usely for finding tool network. So that's all from my group about our problem-based task assessment. Okay, thank you.